All right, we are going to go ahead and get started today. We're going to be working on sun salutations, but a variation with a lunge included in it. So again, it's great for beginners, great for more seasoned practitioners of yoga, since these are the foundational movements of yoga and fundamental to anyone's practice. This is perfect for an energizing start to your morning or to include in your daily or weekly practice. So let's go ahead and get started, making our way to a resting seated position, and that's whatever it looks like for you today, whatever feels comfortable. Just making sure that pelvis is nice and rooted into the mat and allowing the hands to rest gently on the knees. Now that can be face down if we're really looking to spark up something within ourselves today, or they can be face up as a sign of receiving from the energy around you. But wherever we are and all together, allowing those eyes to shut softly. Take a big deep breath in, and as we exhale, just letting those shoulder blades fall away from the ears. Taking a couple moments to get acclimated with our breathing. Inhale through the nostrils for a count of 4. Followed by an open mouth exhale for a count of 5 or 6. And repeating that cycle in through the nostrils for a count of 4. Pausing at the top of that breath, followed by an open mouth exhale for a count of 5 or 6. Slowing down the breathing, the heart rate as we prepare for movement. Repeating this cycle. As we inhale, noticing the lungs fill with air. And as we exhale, that gentle compression in the chest. Perhaps noticing the cyclical nature of our breath here as we take in what we need, release what we don't. Breathing. I encourage us to let go of any thoughts or emotions that exist outside of our mat today, so we can be fully present for our bodies and fully present throughout the entirety of this practice, allowing our mental focus to be on our breathing and on our body. On our next exhalation, allowing our chin to make its way down towards our chest. We can shake the head no gently to release any tension in the neck as we lengthen the cervical spine. And as we inhale, guiding the right ear towards the right shoulder, getting an extension in the left side of the neck. Taking a big deep breath here. If we'd like, placing that left palm beside us, we can walk it away from us for a deeper extension from those fingertips through the full length of the arm, shoulder, all the way up into the jaw. If we'd like, we can gently move the chin down and back up, just exploring those micro muscles in the neck. Each of us holds different tension, so we might be stopping at a different place that feels like it needs a little more of our attention, and guiding the breath to that area, imagining what it would look like if we could guide our breath to the points in our body that we're stretching. Remaining with a nice easy breath as we exhale, bring the left arm in, The chin comes down to the chest. And as we inhale, guiding our left ear towards our left shoulder. If we'd like, placing that right palm beside us, we can walk it away from us for a deeper extension here from those fingertips to the full length of the arm, all the way up into the jaw. And breathing here. Perhaps gently moving the chin down and back up. Exploring those micro muscles in the neck, perhaps noticing a particular spot that needs more of our attention today, and hanging out there. Just breathing. And as we exhale, chin meets chest, bringing that right palm in. As we inhale, roll those shoulders down and back as we lift through the gaze to meet each other. All together, bringing both arms up towards the ceiling. We're reaching through the fingertips. As we exhale, grabbing onto one of our wrists. And on an exhale, leaning over to the opposite side. Breathing here as we get a nice extension in the rib cage. Not pulling or forcing that wrist over, just a nice gentle touch, assisting us with our stretch here. And as we inhale, straighten out the spine, switching our wrists, and exhale, lean over to that opposite side. Taking a big deep breath, noticing the opening in the rib cage as we do so. Again, not forcing or pulling on that wrist, just a gentle touch of support for our stretch here. And as we inhale, come to center, release those hands away from each other, and exhale with complete control, lowering both arms down to the ground. And inhale, guide both arms right back up as they reach up towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, just allowing those shoulder blades to fit nicely into their sockets, so we're not squeezing the shoulders up to the ears. We have some nice space between the arms. And as we exhale, we're bending into our elbows as we turn the palms out. Lifting through the chest, perhaps a subtle lift in the chin. And as we inhale, we're lifting both arms up towards the ceiling, straightening out the gaze. Exhale, bend it out. Open up those palms, lift the chest, perhaps the chin, being mindful of the neck. And as we inhale, lift, straighten out the spine and the gaze. Exhale, bend it out, turn the palms out, shoulders come down and back. And inhale, lift, straighten out the spine and the gaze one more time, bend it out, lift through the chest and chin. And inhale, right back up to center. The arms are high. As we exhale, we're lowering the hands down in front of us for a fold, allowing the neck to relax wherever our hips stop us from that movement. This is giving us a nice stretch in the glute muscles as well as the low back here. On an exhalation, walking those hands out further if we can. But if we can't, just hanging out where we are, getting a nice release in the low back. A nice resting stretch as we warm up the spine for the rest of our practice today. All together, just walking the hands toward the right side. Chest stays low, neck stays relaxed. breathing here. As we inhale, walk those hands over, opposite side. Chest stays low. And all together, returning back to center, walking those hands back up, allowing the chest to lift. Beautiful job. All together, reaching those hands up to the ceiling last time. Exhale, allow the right hand to meet the ground as we extend through the left side. Big deep breath in here. The gaze can be down towards the floor if that's comfortable, or up towards the top hand if that feels good. Making this practice our own, asking our body what we need today. And inhale, right back up to center. The arms are tall. Exhale, rotate over, opposite side. Again, shifting the gaze, exploring what feels good. And breathing. All together, bring both hands right back up to center as we exhale with complete control. Those arms come out and down all the way to the ground. Beautiful job. We're making our way onto our hands and knees. Checking our alignment. When we get there, the wrists are underneath the shoulder blades and the knees are hip width apart. Our toes are tucked behind the thighs as much as they can be. So checking in with all these points in our body. Coming into cat-cow pose. As we inhale, we're dropping the belly button down as we lift through the crown of the head and the tailbone. As we exhale, we're tucking the tailbone and the chin, pressing away with those muscles in the back body for cat pose. And inhale, open up. Belly button drops down, crown of the head and the tailbone rise. For cow pose. And exhale, round it out. Tuck tailbone and chin. Round out the spine. You can feel free to go with our own breath. Otherwise, we're following me. Inhale, open up. Shoulders come down and back. Lift through the tailbone and the crown of the head. Exhale, round everything out. Pushing away with the muscles in the back body. And inhale, open up for cow. Exhale to cat, round it out. 2 more times. Inhale, nice and wide, open up. Exhale, round out for cat. And inhale, open up, last cow pose. And all together, finding a nice neutral spine, just allowing the gaze to shift over the right shoulder, looking towards that right heel for a kidney squeeze. We're waking up the inner organs. Inhale, allow that gaze to come to center. Exhale, look over the opposite shoulder. Inhale, right back to center. 1 more time. Exhale, look over the right. Inhale, center. Last time. Exhale, look over the left. Nice compression in the left side. And inhale to center. All together, allowing our hips to make their way down onto our heels for hero's pose. If this is really uncomfortable for us, we can sit on our bottoms as well. Just finding some grounding here. As we inhale, lift through both hands as they reach up to the ceiling, engaging the core so our tailbone isn't too over tucked. Finding some stability here as we exhale, leading with the chest as we turn to the right side. Allow the arms to come out and down to their sides in a twist. And the gaze, it's working its way towards that back hand. But if that's uncomfortable for the neck, we can just relax As we turn to the side. Inhale, twisting towards the front. Both arms reach up to the ceiling. And as we exhale, leading with the chest as we turn to the left side and allow those arms to come out and down to their sides. Working that gaze toward behind, towards that back hand. But if not, just finding a nice relaxed position at the side in our twist here. And as we inhale, coming right back to center, reach those arms up to the sky. As we exhale, lowering our hands down in front of us, walking them forward for child's pose or a variation of child's pose. Again, lengthening the spine and stretching that low back. The forehead is resting along with the neck here. And all together, making our way back up to that tabletop position. Once we get there, checking our alignment again, grounding those wrists underneath the shoulder blades, and the knees are underneath the hips. All together, we're flipping the back toes and guiding the hips up and diagonally back into downward facing dog pose. Now, while we're here, it's perfectly fine to have a slight bend in the knees. The goal is to keep the hips nice and high here. So don't focus so much on planting those heels on the ground. A slight bend is great. The hands are planted firmly and engaging each and every fingertip here. Taking 4 deep breaths in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. In through the nostrils. Open mouth, exhale. On our next inhalation, we're guiding the right knee in towards the chest, keeping our shoulders in the same exact spot for now. A nice controlled movement with this knee nice and close to the stomach as it can be. And all together, as we exhale, we're shifting those shoulders over the wrists as we guide that right foot between the hands for low lunge. Holding here for a breath, I want us to make sure our ankle is underneath the knee. Sometimes it's easy for us to allow that ankle to be cut short, jutting that front knee out over the ankle. But proper alignment has our ankle right underneath the knee here as to not strain any of our joints. So that's really important. If we have to shift, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, we're hanging out here, breathing. All together, as we inhale, reach both hands up to the ceiling, finding ourselves in a high lunge. If we have really tight hamstrings, a slight bend in that back knee might make this pose a little more accessible for us. But all together, shifting some weight into that front knee, finding ourselves nice and strong here. The gaze is forward. And as we exhale, releasing both hands back down to the ground, sending the right foot back, hips in line with shoulder blades, high plank. Holding here, releasing both knees down to the ground. Unless chaturanga is in our practice, we can chaturanga down. All together, bringing both elbows in towards the chest as we lower ourselves all the way down. Flips onto the tops of those feet. Lift only the chest as the hips stay low for upward facing dog pose, engaging those quadriceps and the core as to not dive too much tension on the back here. Breathing, the gaze is straight ahead. And all together, releasing the knees down to the ground, send the hips all the way down and back for child's pose, relaxing the forehead. Taking a deep breath here before we return to our tabletop position. Beautiful, just getting the basics down here. Flipping the back toes, Guide the hips up, diagonally back into downward facing dog pose. Taking 4 deep breaths, in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. All together on our next inhale, we're drawing the left knee in towards the chest. This is a nice controlled movement. Isolating those core muscles as we lift through that front knee. And all together, shifting the shoulders over the wrist as we allow that left foot to come between the hands. Again, check our alignment. Make sure that ankle is underneath the knee. And then not allowing that knee to jet out forward. Adjusting as we need to. Grounding those hands on the floor as much as we can. Even if we're on our fingertips, that's just fine. Holding here in our low lunge. All together as we inhale, we're lifting through the palms of the hands, finding ourselves in high lunge, pressing into that front knee. Again, if we have really tight hamstrings, we can have a slight bend in that back knee. Whatever works for our body. And breathing, the gaze is straight ahead. Holding here. All together as we exhale, bringing both hands down to the ground, allowing that left foot to come straight back, hips in line with shoulders for high plank. Engaging those glute muscles and the core to work ourselves into some straight lines here. All together, chaturanga down, otherwise releasing these knees, keeping those elbows in close as we lower the chest down. Flips onto the tops of those feet as we lift through the chest using the hands as support. Hips stay low, upward facing dog, engaging those quadriceps. Nice power through the hands and the chest. Holding here, making sure we're keeping up with our breath. And exhale, release the knees. Send the hips all the way down and back for child's pose. Take a deep breath. Relax everything. And all together, returning to our position of all fours, tabletop. Flipping the back toes, guiding those hips up, diagonally back into downward facing dog pose. As we inhale, draw the right heel up to the ceiling, three-legged dog. Nice power through the glute muscle in order to get that right heel up there. And as we exhale, we're bringing the right knee in towards the chest. Nice shift to just bring that right foot between the hands, low lunge. Holding here, checking our alignment. That ankle is underneath the knee. And as we inhale, lift through the chest, finding ourselves in a high lunge. Breathe. As we exhale, lower the hands down, pressing through that back foot to bring it up towards the right, forward fold. Hips are nice and low. The chest is nice and low and the hips are high, excuse me. Take a nice deep breath here. Allow those arms to be nice and soft. We can even wiggle them out. Shake the head yes and no. We're not holding any tension in the neck here. And as we inhale, we're lifting the back up just halfway, half back, making a 90-degree angle with the body. The spine is long. Hands rest gently on the shins. And as we exhale, releasing the chest fully, finding ourselves in a forward fold. As we inhale, one more time, half back, lift the back up just halfway. Hands rest gently on the shins. And exhale, soften everything. Forward fold, hips are high. All together on our next inhalation, we're rolling the chest up, vertebrae by vertebrae. That means our head comes up very, very last, finding ourselves in a standing position and adjusting our alignment when we get there. The feet are right underneath the hips here, so check in with those lines, making sure they're lined up with the ankle. Turn the palms out so they're facing the space around us as we roll the shoulders down and back for Tadasana, a standing mountain pose. Take a big deep breath here. Find strength and stability in this stillness. As we inhale, reach both hands up to the ceiling. Exhale with complete control. Both hands come out and down to our sides. As we inhale, bring both hands to heart center. Take a deep breath. Inhale, guide both hands up to the sky. Exhale, the hands come out and down as we hinge at the hips. Lower the chest down, forward fold. All together, bending the knees as much as we need to send the right foot back. The left foot is up towards the top of the mat in a low lunge. Holding here. As we inhale, lift through both hands. Nice pressure in the front of the knee. High lunge. Breathing here. Power even in the fingertips, because if we start to give up on the fingertips, the arms start to get a little lazy as well. So every part of our body has attention, has intention. Everything has a purpose. Holding here. And as we exhale, bringing both hands down to the ground, finding ourselves in a low lunge. All together, press through that back foot, bringing it up towards the top of the mat. Hips are high, chest is low. Forward fold. Slight bend in the knees here if we need to. Have some tightness in the hamstrings. No need to be at full extension with these knees. As we inhale, lift the back up just halfway. And exhale, round everything out. Forward fold. Inhale, half back. Hands rest gently on the shins. And exhale, round it out, forward fold. All together, rolling that chest up, vertebrae by vertebrae. That means our head comes up very, very last, being mindful of the shift in the blood. Pressing those feet down into the mat at hip width apart as we turn the palms out, shoulders roll down and back, being sure to engage the core so our tailbone isn't super externally rotated here. Nice control. Tadasana. Big deep breath in. Inhale, draw both arms up to the ceiling. Maybe the gaze follows. And exhale with complete control. The arms come out and down to the side. Inhale, bring both hands to heart center. Taking a breath here on our next inhalation, reach both arms up to the ceiling. And exhale, lowering down those arms along with the chest as we hinge at the hips. Forward fold. All together, bending the knees as much as we need to ground those hands on the floor. Step the left foot back and then allow the right to follow, finding ourselves in a high plank. Holding here. All together, chaturanga down, or release those knees, keeping the elbows in as we lower the chest all the way down. flip onto the tops of those feet. Press up through the chest, hips stay low. Upward facing dog pose. And all together, releasing our knees, flipping through the back toes, send the hips up and diagonally back, downward facing dog pose. Taking 4 deep breaths here, using our down dog as a transition, as a place for us to regain our breath, pressing each and every fingertip into the mat so there's not too much weight on our wrist here. And all together, inhale, lift that left heel up to the ceiling, 3-legged dog, engaging our core and that glute muscle in order to get that left heel up there. Holding. And all together as we exhale, bringing that left knee in towards the chest and then allowing that left foot to come between those hands, low lunge. Checking in with the ankle, making sure it's underneath the knee. Holding here. All together as we inhale, bring both hands up to the ceiling. Nice pressure into that front knee. Again, slight bend in the back knee if you need to do so. High lunge. Making sure we're breathing. And as we exhale, releasing both hands down to the mat, pressing through the back foot to bring it up towards that top foot, allowing the chest to stay low. Hips are high, the arms are soft along with the neck, forward fold. Slight bend in those knees if we have tight hamstrings. As we inhale, lift the back up just halfway, finding ourselves in that 90-degree angle. Hands are resting on the shins. Exhale, lower everything down, forward fold. Inhale, lift the back up just halfway. And exhale, allow that chest to soften. On our next inhalation, we're rolling the chest up vertebrae by vertebrae. That means our head comes up very, very last. Grounding those feet at hip width apart. Turn the palms out. Shoulders come down and back. Tadasana. Perhaps all together, lifting up the toes and then planting each and every toe down onto the mat to ensure that all of the points on our feet are assisting us in our stability here. Taking a deep breath. As we inhale, guide both arms up to the ceiling, reaching through the fingertips. Exhale with complete control. The arms come out and down. Bring both hands to heart center. And inhale, lift through the palms of the hands. Exhale, hinge at the hips as we allow those arms to come down along with the chest. Forward fold. As we inhale, lift the back up just halfway. Finding ourselves in a 90-degree angle before we exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, half back. And exhale, soften. From here, bending the knees as much as we need to ground those hands on the floor. We're sending the left foot back, the right foot stays close to the top of the mat for low lunge. All together as we inhale, lift through both hands, finding ourselves in a high lunge, pressing into that front knee, using that back foot as stability. If we find ourselves having trouble balancing, send that back heel down a bit. It allows us to have more grounding between the 2 points on our feet. Holding here, even the fingertips are strong. And on our next exhale, releasing both hands down to the ground, low lunge. Bring the back foot forward, hips are high, forward fold, chest is low. And as we inhale, rolling that chest up, vertebrae by vertebrae, our head coming up very last, being mindful of our shift in blood flow as we come from facing downward to facing up. Grounding those feet underneath the hips, rolling those shoulders down and back, opening up those palms as a sign of receiving from the energy and space around us, engaging that core. As we inhale, draw both hands up to the ceiling, maybe even the gaze follows. Exhale with complete control, arms come out and down to our sides. Bring both hands in towards heart center. Inhale, reach both hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Allow the chest to come down with those arms. Forward fold. All together, bending the knees as much as we need to send the right foot back, finding ourselves in a low lunge, and then allowing that left foot to come back as well, finding ourselves in a high plank. Shoulders are in line with the hips. Holding here, the core is engaged. And all together, releasing those knees or chaturanga down. Elbows stay nice and close to the chest as we lower ourselves down. Flip onto the tops of those feet. Send the chest up, hips stay low. Upward facing dog. Engaging those quads. We don't want to dive too much weight into the low back here. Nice and strong. And all together, releasing the knees. Flip onto the tops of those toes. Send the hips up and diagonally back. Downward facing dog pose. And all together as we inhale, send the right heel up to the ceiling, three-legged dog. As we exhale, bring the right knee in towards the chest, just to place that right foot on the mat in front of us. No lunge. Inhale, bring both hands up towards the ceiling, high lunge, pressing into that front knee. The gaze is straight ahead of us. And as we exhale, releasing both hands down to the ground, power through that back foot to bring it up towards the top of the mat. Forward fold, chest is low, hips are high, slight bend in the knees if we need it. As we inhale, lifting the back up just halfway, 90-degree angle, hands rest on the shins. Exhale, soften it out. Inhale, lift the back up halfway. And exhale, soften it out, forward fold. As we inhale, rolling that chest up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Head comes up last, grounding the feet at hip width apart, turning those palms out, finding ourselves in standing mountain pose, nice and strong. Inhale, both hands reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale, out and down with control. Bringing both hands to heart center. As we inhale, draw both hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinge at those hips, drop the chest and the arms. Forward fold. All together, grounding the hands as much as, and bending the knees as much as we need to get those hands on the ground. Sending the left foot back, then the right. Finding ourselves in high plank. Holding here. Grounding the knees if you need to, otherwise chaturanga, chest comes down low. Inhale, press through those hands, engage the quadriceps as we press through the backs of those feet, finding ourselves in upward dog. Making sure we're breathing, releasing the knees, flipping the back toes, guide the hips up and diagonally back into downward facing dog. Taking 4 deep breaths here. Adjusting our alignment if we need to, make sure that ankle is underneath the knee. And as we inhale, draw both hands up to the ceiling, high lunge. Holding here, nice stability. Again, pressing into that back heel if we're finding ourselves having a hard time balancing here. And all together, exhale, release the hands down towards the ground. Press through that back foot so it meets the top foot. Forward fold, chest is low, arms and the neck are completely relaxed. And as we inhale, rolling that chest up, taking our time as we do so, grounding the feet, turning those palms out, shoulders roll down and back for standing mountain pose. As we inhale, draw both arms up to the ceiling, reaching through the palms of the hands. And exhale, complete control. Those arms come out and down to their sides. All together, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach those hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Forward fold. As we inhale, lift the back up just halfway. Exhale, round it out. One more time. Inhale, half back. And exhale, round it out. Bending the knees as much as we need to ground the hands on the floor. Send the right foot back, then the left, high plank. Holding here. All together, chaturanga down or releasing the knees, chest comes down low. Press through the hands and the tops of those feet, hips are low, upward facing dog. Breathing here. And all together, flip onto the tops of those feet. Send the hips all the way up and diagonally back. for downward facing dog pose. And holding here for 4 breaths. In through the nostrils, out through the mouth. All together, bending the knees all the way down to the ground. Flip onto the tops of those feet as we send the hips all the way down and back for child's pose. Allowing ourselves to relax those hands if we'd like, even bringing both arms next to us, allowing the back to round out fully, the forehead meets the mat. All together as we inhale, placing the hands in front of us firmly, finding ourselves in a tabletop position. Grounding the right hand into the floor as we inhale, lift the left arm up to the ceiling. And exhale, thread that left arm through the space in the right, the shoulder and the cheek meet the mat for threading the needle pose. We have the option to use this right hand as support here. Otherwise, we're walking the right hand forward, opening up that right shoulder blade. If a bind is in our practice, we can work our way toward guiding that right forearm behind the back. But this is whatever feels good for our body. So having that inner conversation with the self, what feels good. Knowing it's okay if that changes from week to week or day to day. And all together, using the strength of that right hand to bring us back up to a tabletop position. Grounding the left palm into the ground as we reach the right hand up to the ceiling, open up the chest. Exhale, thread that right arm through the space in the left shoulder and cheek meet the mat for threading the needle pose. Again, we can use this left hand as support here. Perhaps we're walking it forward, opening up the chest. If a bind is in our practice, allowing that left forearm to come behind the back. Whatever feels good. All together, using the strength of that left arm to bring us right back up to a tabletop position. Checking our alignment when we get there, those wrists are underneath the shoulder blades, knees are hip width apart. Before we flip the back toes and guide those hips up, diagonally back into downward facing dog pose. The neck is soft as we look towards those toes. Perhaps pedaling out the feet here, bending into one knee as we extend the opposite side, lifting one heel as we send the opposite heel down. Just stretching those hamstrings and the glute muscles we've been working today. And all together, finding stability here in our down dog. As we inhale, guide the right knee in towards the chest with control. Engaging that core to get that knee up there. Shifting those shoulders over wrists just to place that right foot down on the ground between the hands for low lunge. And as we inhale, we're lifting both arms up to the ceiling, high lunge. Again, slight bend in that back knee if we have really tight hamstrings. Wherever we are, with nice control. And exhale, release both hands down to the ground. Send the right foot back, hips in line with shoulder blades. High plank. All together, chaturanga down or release the knees. Keep the elbows in close, lower the chest all the way down. Inhale, hips stay low, chest rises, upward facing dog. And exhale, release the knees. Send the hips up and diagonally back into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. As we inhale, draw the left knee in towards the chest, complete controlled movement. Allowing those shoulders to come over wrist, high plank variation, just to plant that left foot on the ground between those hands, low lunge. Check our alignment when we get there. As we inhale, lift both hands up to the ceiling, high lunge. Take a deep breath here. All together, as we exhale, plant the hands down, low lunge. Send that left foot back, high plank. All together, release the knees or chaturanga down, lowering the chest. And inhale, lift the chest, hips stay low. Upward facing dog pose. And as we exhale, release those knees. Last time, flip the back toes. Hips come up and diagonally back into downward facing dog. Holding for 4 breaths. And all together, release those knees down fully. Send the hips down onto the heels for hero's pose. Again, if that's uncomfortable for us, we can sit on our bottoms as well. Grounding the hands on the thighs gently. As we inhale, roll the shoulders down and back. Find a nice arch in the spine. Perhaps we lift the chin. And as we exhale, rounding out the spine, we can inch those hands forward. Tuck the chin. As we inhale, roll the shoulders down and back. Nice arch. Lift through the chin. And exhale, round out the spine. Tuck the chin. Inhale, open up, shoulders roll down and back. Exhale, round it out. Just one last time after this. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round it out. And all together, coming to a nice neutral spine. We're going to make our way down onto our backs. Allowing the shoulders to relax fully as we do so. As we inhale, bringing both knees in towards the chest, recline child's pose. Perhaps rocking from side to side. If we'd like, grabbing towards the inner soles of the feet and allowing those knees to come out and down to our sides for happy baby. We can rock from side to side. If we'd like, bending one knee as we extend the opposite, just working into those hamstrings a bit more. Otherwise, we're staying right here in our reclined child's pose. All together, releasing the arms out to our sides. As we exhale, rotate both knees down to one side, allowing the spine to be long. In a soft twist here, no need for both knees to be planted fully on the ground. If we'd like, we can explore with the gaze here, looking towards the right side, up to center, or to the left. Just exploring that mobility in the spine wherever we are. Breathing here, allowing the body to cool down. And as we inhale, engage the core to bring both knees back to center. Exhale, rotate over, opposite side. Perhaps exploring with the gaze here. Looking to the right or left, perhaps just at center, whatever feels good. And all together, bring both knees in towards the chest, allowing both feet to meet the ground. The knees are bent, transitioning into reclined bound angle pose. The bottoms of the feet come together as the knees open up wide. Now, if this feels really vulnerable for us, we can place a pillow or anything soft underneath the knees just to give ourselves some support, because otherwise gravity does a really good job of allowing those knees to come out further and further. All together, bringing one hand to heart center and one to the stomach, just taking a moment or two to check in with our breathing, allowing the eyes to shut and our full attention to come inward and onto our breath as we reflect on our practice today, on what we've gained from this movement. And when we're ready, we're closing our legs like a book, finding the feet planted into the mat again. And as we inhale, guiding our right ankle over the left knee. left foot back down. If we raised it, the right foot meets the ground next. Inhale, draw the left ankle over the right knee, figure 4. If we'd like, gently pressing that left knee away from us, just opening up the hip. Another option is to interlace the fingertips around the right thigh, draw the left ankle in close. And all together, release the right foot, then the left. Draw both knees in towards the chest, recline child's pose, our last one for the class today. If you want to roll around, massage the back, that's perfectly fine. And all together, when we're ready, allowing the knees to come straight out and down, allowing the palms to rest gently at our sides, turning them out so they're facing the space around us. Roll the shoulders down and back. As we make our way into the meditation portion of our practice, or Savasana today, bringing our attention to the muscles in the face, releasing any tension from between the eyebrows, the eye socket, and the cheekbones, allowing ourselves to feel heavy as we notice the jaw, perhaps removing the tongue from the roof of the mouth, allowing the lips to part naturally. And following that softness into the chest, notice the collarbone and the shoulder blades, the biceps and the triceps. Notice each elbow, the forearm, the wrist, the palms of the hands. Notice each and every fingertip. And allow a softness into the body and mind. Allow the hips to be heavy as we notice the quadriceps and the hamstring, each knee, the calves and the shins. Noticing each ankle, the tops and the bottoms of the feet, and noticing each and every toe. And allowing our full weight to be bared by only the mat and the floor beneath us. Taking, if not just this one moment, to be free of any tension, of any burden, to be strong. Allowing ourselves to melt into the mat. Just breathing. And if If we'd like, we can stay in our corpse pose for another moment. Otherwise, unless we're pregnant or have high blood pressure, we can roll over to the right side. Allow the chest to follow in a fetal position. Still allowing the eyes to be shut, just finding ourselves soft and close with our own body. Taking this time to send a thank you note to the body and mind that brought us here to the mat today. Even if that's just a simple thank you for being able to move and try the way you did today, for being able to breathe the way we did today. Paying ourselves one honest compliment, whatever that sounds like, as long as it's kind. And on our next inhalation, making our way back up to the resting seated position, much like we started our class with today. Taking our time with the body. And all together, bringing our hands to heart center or our third eye. I thank you all for sharing this practice with me today and for allowing me to lead you through it. The light and the love within me sees, I bow and recognize the light and the love within you. Namaste.